There is a quiet, creeping paralysis that settles into the lives of so many of us as we journey past the age of 50. It is not a paralysis of the limbs, but a paralysis of possibility. It begins with the simple, insidious thought, I probably shouldn't do that anymore. It's the voice that whispers in your ear when you think about getting on the floor to play with a grandchild. It's the hesitation you feel before committing to a long walk with a friend. It's the subtle, almost unconscious decision to take the elevator instead of the stairs, to drive to the corner store instead of walking, to hire someone to do the gardening that once brought you so much joy. This is the gradual, self-imposed confinement that is born from a deep and pervasive fear of our own bodies, a fear of pain, a fear of injury, and a fear of the stiffness and weakness that have become our unwelcome companions. The problem we are going to confront today, in its entirety, is the profoundly toxic and deeply flawed fitness culture that has created this state of fear and inaction. We have been sold a bill of goods, a vision of health that is defined by expensive gym memberships, by complicated machinery, by high-impact joint-jarring workouts, and by a relentless go-hard-or-go-home mentality. For a person over the age of 50, this vision is not just intimidating, it is utterly alienating. It creates a massive and seemingly insurmountable barrier between where we are and where we want to be. We look at this world of aggressive fitness, and we rightly conclude, that is not for me. And so, tragically, we often choose to do nothing at all. But what if this entire model is a lie? What if the secret to a long, vibrant, and pain-free life is not found in a noisy, intimidating gym, but in the quiet, mindful, and consistent movements that you can perform in the comfort of your own living room, using nothing more than the wisdom of your own body? What if there exists a culture that has, for centuries, perfected an approach to lifelong wellness that is not based on expensive equipment or punishing routines, but on the simple, elegant, and profound power of daily, functional movement? Today, we are going to completely dismantle the barriers that have been holding you back. We are going to transport ourselves to Japan and immerse ourselves in a philosophy of movement that is defined not by intensity, but by intelligence, not by exhaustion, but by sustainability. We will reveal 6 specific foundational movements that are not workouts, but are deeply ingrained, daily rituals for millions of Japanese elders. These are the simple, no-equipment practices they use to maintain their remarkable mobility, their uncanny balance, and their functional strength well into their later years. We will not just show you these movements. We will spend hours dissecting the deep, biomechanical and neurological science that makes each one so powerfully effective. This is not a fitness program. This is a movement manifesto for the rest of your life. It is your definitive guide to reclaiming your body, to dissolving your fear, and to building a foundation of strength and confidence that requires no gym, just your daily, joyful, and consistent participation. Before we learn the first of our 6 movements, we must first absorb the revolutionary principle that sets this entire approach apart. It is the Japanese concept of kaizen, which is most often applied in the business world, and means continuous, incremental improvement. When applied to the body, it is a philosophy of profound patience and gentle persistence. The goal is not to achieve a dramatic transformation in a week or a month. The goal is to make a 1% improvement every single day. It is the belief that small, consistent, and mindful movements, when practiced over a lifetime, will yield a far greater and more sustainable result than sporadic bursts of intense, painful effort. This is a philosophy of kindness to the body, a partnership, not a dictatorship. Our first movement is the perfect embodiment of this Kaizen principle. It targets the very foundation of our upright existence, our feet and our lower legs. We will call this practice heel and toe raises, a foundational component of many Japanese daily routines. The problem that this simple movement so brilliantly solves is the problem of the dormant second heart. As we have discussed in other contexts, your heart is a powerful pump, but it struggles to get the blood all the way back up from your feet against the constant pull of gravity. The true engine of this return journey is your calf muscle pump, your second heart. Every time you take a step, your calf muscles squeeze the deep veins in your lower legs, pumping the blood upward. As we become more sedentary, this pump falls silent. Blood begins to pool in our lower legs, leading to cold feet, swollen ankles, a feeling of heaviness, and an increased risk of varicose veins and even blood clots. The Western solution is often to just do more aggressive cardio, like running, which can be hard on the joints. The Japanese approach is to gently and consistently activate this pump throughout the day, using a simple, no-impact movement. Let's learn this foundational practice together. You can do this right now. Stand behind a sturdy chair or next to a kitchen counter, placing your hands on it for light support. Stand with your feet about hip-width apart. First, on a slow and controlled motion, rise all the way up onto the balls of your feet, lifting your heels as high as you can. Feel a strong contraction in your calf muscles. Hold for a moment at the top. Then, with equal control, slowly lower your heels back to the floor. That is the first half. Now for the second half, keep your heels on the floor and lift your toes and the balls of your feet up towards your shins. You will feel the muscles on the front of your lower legs, the tibialis anterior, engage. Hold for a moment, and then slowly lower your feet back down. That is one full repetition. The key here is the slow, deliberate tempo. This is not about bouncing up and down. Each repetition should take several seconds. Aim for a set of 15 to 20 repetitions. As you are doing this, visualize the action. With every single heel raise, you are squeezing those veins and powerfully pumping that deoxygenated blood back up towards your heart. With every toe raise, you are activating the opposing muscle group, creating a beautiful, rhythmic, push-pull action that floods your entire lower leg with fresh, oxygenated blood. This simple, 1-minute exercise can be done multiple times throughout the day. You can do it while you are waiting for the kettle to boil. You can do it while you are brushing your teeth. You can do it during the commercial break of your favorite television show. By integrating these small, movement snacks into your day, you are constantly tending to your circulation. You are preventing the stagnation that leads to so many problems, and you are building the foundational, functional strength that is essential for a stable and powerful walking gait. Now we move from the foundation of the feet up to the powerhouse of the entire lower body, the hips and thighs. This brings us to our second practice, a movement that is arguably the single most important functional exercise for lifelong independence. We are talking about the wall sit, or Cabe no Isu. The problem this movement addresses is the loss of the ability to safely and confidently get up from and down to a low surface. From a purely biomechanical perspective, the single greatest predictor of whether an older adult can live independently is the strength of their quadriceps, hamstrings, and gluteal muscles. It is this muscular engine that allows you to stand up from the toilet, to get out of a deep, comfortable sofa, and most critically, to get up from the floor after a fall. The traditional Western approach to building this strength is the barbell squat, an exercise that, for most people over 50, is both intimidating and potentially dangerous for the knees and lower back if done with improper form. The wall sit is a stroke of Japanese genius. It is an isometric exercise, which means you are contracting the muscles without actually moving the joint. This allows you to build incredible strength and endurance in your legs in a way that is completely safe and supportive for your knees and your back. Let's learn how to perform it. Find a clear, sturdy wall in your home. Stand with your back against the wall, and your feet about shoulder width apart, and a good foot or two away from the wall. Now, keeping your back pressed firmly against the wall, begin to slowly slide down, as if you are lowering yourself into an invisible chair. Only go down as far as is comfortable for you. In the beginning, this may only be a few inches, a very slight bend in the knees. That is perfectly fine. The goal is to find a position where you can feel the muscles in your thighs, your quadriceps, beginning to engage and work. Hold this position. Your goal is not to get to a 90-degree angle. Your goal is to hold this gentle, isometric contraction. Start with just 15 to 20 seconds. As you hold, breathe deeply and evenly. Focus on the sensation of the muscles working. You may feel a gentle warmth or even a slight shaking in your thighs. This is a sign that you are building strength. To come out of it, simply press your feet into the floor and slide back up the wall. This exercise is a perfect example of Kaizen. You start with what is manageable, perhaps a very shallow bend for just 15 seconds. The next day, you try for 16 seconds. Over weeks and months, you will be astonished at your progress. You will be able to hold the position for longer, and you will be able to sink a little deeper, all without any pain or strain on your joints. You are building deep, powerful, functional strength in the very muscles that are the key to your independence. You are, in a very real sense, building your own internal lift chair. We have now activated our lower legs and built foundational strength in our thighs. This brings us to our third practice, which focuses on the mobility and flexibility of the hips, the central pivot point of all our movement. We will learn a simple, standing hip stretch, or kokensetsu no sutarechi. The problem this movement solves is the cage of stiffness that imprisons the hips of most modern adults. A lifetime of sitting in chairs causes the muscles on the front of our hips, the hip flexors, to become chronically short and tight. This tightness pulls our pelvis into a forward tilt, which is a primary mechanical cause of the swayback posture and the nagging lower back pain that plagues so many people. It also restricts the ability of our leg to extend behind us, which is essential for a powerful and efficient walking stride. We end up walking with a short, shuffling gait, not because our legs are weak, but because our tight hips simply will not allow them to move freely. This standing hip stretch is a simple and safe way to begin to unlock this cage. Stand next to a wall or a countertop, placing one hand on it for support. Now we will stretch the right hip. Take a small, comfortable step back with your right foot. Both of your feet should be pointing straight ahead. Now, keeping your back leg straight, gently bend your front left knee. As you do this, you will begin to feel a stretch in the front of your right hip and thigh. The key to this stretch is to keep your back straight and to avoid arching your lower back. To deepen the stretch, you can perform a slight posterior pelvic tilt, gently tucking your tailbone under, as if you are trying to flatten your lower back. This will dramatically increase the sensation of stretch in the hip flexor. Hold this gentle stretch for 30 seconds. Do not bounce. Breathe deeply into the sensation, and with every exhalation, imagine that tight muscle letting go just a little bit more. Then, slowly release and switch sides, stepping back with your left foot to stretch the left hip flexor. Performing this simple, 30-second stretch on each side every day can have a profound effect. You are restoring the natural length to these chronically tight muscles. You are freeing your pelvis to move naturally. You are alleviating a primary cause of lower back pain. And you are unlocking the potential for a longer, more powerful, and more graceful stride when you walk. Now we move from the lower body up to the core, the central pillar from which all strong movement emanates. This brings us to our fourth practice, a gentle but powerful torso rotation, or karata no katen. The problem this movement addresses is the loss of rotational mobility in our spine. Our spine is not designed to be just a rigid column. It is designed to be able to twist and to turn. This rotational capacity is essential for countless daily activities. Reaching for something in the back seat of the car, turning to look over your shoulder, swinging a golf club, or even just walking efficiently. As we age, if we do not consistently move our spine through this rotational range, the small joints between the vertebrae can become frozen, and the muscles of our core can become stiff and weak. This not only limits our functional movement, but can also lead to pain and an increased risk of injury when we are forced to make a sudden twisting motion. This gentle, standing torso rotation is a safe and effective way to maintain this vital mobility. Stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, with a slight, soft bend in your knees. You can either let your arms hang loosely by your sides, or you can cross them over your chest. Now, keeping your hips and your knees pointing forward, begin to slowly and gently, as if you are moving through water, rotate your entire upper body to the right. The movement should be initiated from your core, from your ribcage, not from your arms or your head. Only go as far as you can without any strain or pain. Then, slowly rotate back through the center and over to the left. The key is to keep the movement fluid, rhythmic, and controlled. You can coordinate it with your breath, exhaling as you twist, and inhaling as you return to the center. Let your arms be heavy and relaxed. Some people enjoy letting them gently swing and tap against their body as they turn. This adds a light, percussive element that can be very stimulating for the circulation and the lymphatic system. Continue this gentle, flowing rotation for about 1 minute. You are lubricating the small facet joints of your thoracic and lumbar spine. You are gently stretching and activating the oblique and other core muscles. And you are reminding your brain and your body of this essential and often neglected pattern of movement. We have now addressed the major muscle groups and joint actions of the body. This brings us to our fifth practice, which is arguably the most functional of all. It is the simple yet profoundly important act of step walking in place, or fumidaishoko. The problem this movement solves is the degradation of our gait pattern and the loss of cardiovascular endurance for daily activities. The act of walking is a complex symphony of balance, coordination, and muscular endurance. As we become more sedentary, this symphony can fall out of tune. We lose the ability to lift our feet properly, leading to a shuffling gait that dramatically increases the risk of tripping and falling. We also lose the simple baseline cardiovascular fitness needed to climb a flight of stairs without becoming breathless, or to walk through a large grocery store without feeling exhausted. This simple, at-home stepping practice is a perfect, no-impact way to retrain your gait and to build your functional endurance. You can do this in your living room. Stand in front of a counter or a sturdy piece of furniture for light support. Now simply begin to march in place, lifting your knees up to a comfortable height. The goal is not to go fast. The goal is to be deliberate. With each step, focus on lifting your knee and then placing your foot down softly and quietly. This builds strength in your hip flexors, and it improves your motor control. This is another perfect Kaizen practice. You can start with just 1 minute of continuous stepping. As that becomes easy, you can gradually increase the duration. You are not just getting a gentle cardiovascular workout. You are actively repatterning your brain for a safer, more efficient walk. You are telling your body, this is how we lift our feet. This is how we walk with confidence. You can make it more challenging by using a small, sturdy stool or the bottom step of a staircase, stepping up and then down, alternating your lead foot. This is one of the most practical and life-enhancing movements you can do. You are directly training for the real-world activities that are the cornerstones of an independent life. Finally, we arrive at our sixth practice. This practice is the invisible thread that weaves all the others together. It is not a movement of the limbs, but a movement of the mind and the breath. It is the practice of mindful transitioning. The problem this addresses is the mindless, automatic way in which we perform the most common, and often the most dangerous movements of our day. The act of standing up and sitting down. The vast majority of falls in older adults do not happen during some complex athletic activity. They happen during these simple, everyday transitions. We go to stand up from a chair while our mind is distracted. Our core is disengaged, and our base of support is unstable. We get a head rush from standing up too quickly. We lose our balance for a split second, and the result can be a disaster. The practice of mindful transitioning is the conscious act of turning these routine movements into a focused, deliberate, and safe ritual. Let's practice it together with the act of standing up from a chair. Before you even begin to move, take a moment to prepare. Scoot your bottom to the front edge of the chair. Place your feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart, and slightly behind your knees. This creates a stable and powerful base of support. Now, place your hands on your thighs. Take one deep, diaphragmatic breath. On your exhalation, you will initiate the movement. Hinge forward at your hips, keeping your back straight. Feel your weight shift into your feet. Now press down powerfully through your heels. Engage the muscles of your thighs and your glutes, and rise to a tall, standing position. Arrive fully. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your posture upright and balanced. The same mindfulness applies to sitting down. Instead of just collapsing into the chair, you will perform the movement in reverse. Hinge at your hips, send your bottom back, keep your chest up, and use the muscles of your legs to slowly and with complete control, lower yourself back down to the chair. This is not just a safer way to move. It is a profound, informal exercise that you will perform dozens of times every single day. Every time you stand up and sit down with this level of mindfulness, you are performing a perfect, functional squat. You are strengthening your legs. You are training your core. And you are hardwiring a pattern of safe, stable movement into your brain. You are transforming a moment of high risk into a powerful opportunity for building strength and reinforcing good habits. Let us now step back and behold the beautiful, elegant, and profoundly logical system we have created. This is a complete, holistic, and entirely self-contained system for lifelong wellness. It requires no equipment, no membership, no special clothing. It only requires your consistent and mindful participation. It begins with the circulatory and foundational power of the heel and toe raises. It builds deep, functional strength with the safe and supportive wall sit. It unlocks the cage of stiffness in your hips with the standing hip stretch. It restores the fluid, rotational mobility of your spine with the torso rotation. It retrains your gait and builds your daily endurance with the step walking in place. And it weaves all of these together with the constant, life-affirming practice of mindful transitioning. This is a philosophy that is built on the profound truth that your body is not your enemy. It is a wise and faithful partner that is always striving for health. Our job is not to bully it into submission, but to listen to its needs and to provide it with the gentle, consistent, and intelligent movement it craves. By embracing these 6 simple, daily practices, you are stepping off the brutal and unforgiving battlefield of Western fitness and onto a path of gentle, joyful, and sustainable self-care. You are becoming the master of your own mobility, the architect of your own strength, and the guardian of your own precious and irreplaceable independence. You are not just doing exercises, you are cultivating a life of movement.